What an incredible night it's been. The US presidential election did not fail to disappoint. The pollsters having the worst night that we've seen in a long time. Naturally, this was always going to be a difficult election to poll and to call. So perhaps we shouldn't be enormously surprised, despite the fact that they did try to account for the difficulties associated with coronavirus. But as we saw very early on, it was quite clear that Trump was doing much better than the polls had anticipated. And now the race really is neck and neck. We've seen a lot of volatility in these markets already today. It started off a little bit slow, which was quite surprising given the noises that we'd heard, given that we'd already heard from Trump suggesting on Twitter that this was going to be a contested election, that in his view, that they had won and the Democrats were trying to steal it. But the markets were relatively calm, but it really did kick into a higher gear on the European Open this morning, and I expect that to continue for the rest of the day. Broadly speaking, these markets are quite flat across the board at this point today, but given the volatility that we've already seen, you would expect that is going to continue. As I say, it's neck and neck at this point in time. The key swing states, some of the key swing states are still in contention. The fact that Trump took Florida early meant that this was always going to be a far more open race than had been anticipated, and it is one that looks as though it's going to be challenged. Trump has already alluded to the fact that the Supreme Court will be involved. So that is, as I've said previously, probably the worst case scenario as far as these elections are concerned, assuming that it doesn't get to a point that it becomes easily contestable. Now, there's, like I said, there's a lot of swing states that are still up for contention. It looks as though Biden will take Arizona. Wisconsin is still very much up for grabs. Michigan as well, and many others. There's about 4 or 5 states which could really go either way and will have a massive impact as far as this election outcome is concerned. So the next few hours, I think, are going to be crucial. But the biggest of all, I think, is going to be Pennsylvania. Now, Biden can hit the 270 mark comfortably without the need for Pennsylvania, but it is likely that Pennsylvania is going to be the one state that if Biden does rely on it, then this is where the legal battles are going to be most fiercely fought. And as I say, that is the worst case scenario as far as the markets are concerned. Earlier on, the betting odds were favouring Donald Trump after the early momentum. But as we were anticipating, it was always going to see Donald Trump that was going to enjoy the earlier half of the election count, given the postal voting impact on a number of these different states. So we are seeing now that Biden fight back, and now the betting odds have actually moved back in favor of the former vice president. But it's going to be so close in a number of these states that it's going to be that it wouldn't be surprising if we did see this move around still quite a lot over the course of the rest of today and even going into the rest of the week. Now, the dollar's been moving quite a lot, but like I say, it is relatively flat at this point. We saw a lot of risk aversion earlier, which was very supportive for the dollar, and that was quickly unwound, and that's had an impact as far as gold is concerned. Now, gold continues to trade around the $1,900 level, peaking around $1,920 today, falling as low as $1,880, but it continues to trade in that wider range. And I think that's the most important thing here. And until we get a result, I can't see us, or at least get a better impression of what the result's going to be, then I don't think we're going to see a breakout of this range. The upper end of the range around 1930, the lower end of the range around the 1850 1860 mark. So that's the levels to really keep an eye on. I will be keeping a close eye, of course, on today's trade high and low, the 1880, 1920. But it's the broader ranges which will really give us the biggest indication as to which way this is heading. As I say, this could go on for days. This could go on for weeks if the challenges continue up to the Supreme Court. And I think Pennsylvania is going to be absolutely key here. But as I say, a number of states still up for grabs, very closely fought, whether that is Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, or elsewhere. So I think there's still a lot to watch today, a lot of action still to be had, and people should be paying very close attention to what these candidates have say, because Trump has already hinted that he's declared victory. That is going to create a lot of controversy, and that is going to create these market movements that we've already seen today.